Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
I am.
Great. So today we're going way back, like Tang Dynasty back,
Oh,
to
wow.
explore this poem, listening to the Zheng by Duan.
Okay.
And this poem, it's short, but trust me, it is packed with like layers of meaning about artistry and performance and even, maybe a little bit of unrequited love, all centered around this one instrument, the Zheng.
And it's really interesting how, like, this poem, even though it was written so long ago,
Yeah,
it still speaks to us today. Like, we still feel these things, wanting to connect with someone,
oh boy,
trying to get their attention. It's
exactly.
like human nature, right?
Absolutely. So the poem opens with this image of the Zheng. The Zheng, it's
Yeah.
like this beautiful Chinese zither. Have
Yeah.
you heard one?
I have, yeah. It's very evocative, very, almost otherworldly.
Yeah, and in the poem, the strings are vibrating against these golden millet pillars.
Mm.
So right away, I get this feeling like this isn't just some casual jam session.
Mm. Oh, absolutely not. Golden millet pillars that just screams opulence, right?
Yes.
We're definitely not in some, like, commoner's hut here.
Yeah.
We're talking a grand hall, maybe a wealthy patron's home, somewhere where art and beauty are, like, essential parts of life. It really sets the stage for something special.
Okay, so we have this exclusive setting. And then there's the musician.
Hmm?
The poem describes their jade fingers gracing the strings. Now, this jade fingers thing,
Yeah.
it's not literal, right? It's a metaphor.
Exactly. It's one of those classic poetic images that you see all the time in Chinese poetry, like
Mm.
the willow waist or eyebrows like distant mountains.
Right.
It's all about creating the sense of beauty, delicacy, and skill.
Skill. So we've got this incredibly skilled musician in an exclusive setting,
Uh,
and they're playing for someone special.
Oh, yeah. And this is where it gets really interesting because the poem mentions Zhou Lang. Now, for those who don't know, Zhou Lang is actually an allusion to a historical figure, Zhu Yu,
Okay.
who was this famous general. But he was also known for being a huge music lover.
Interesting.
So right away, it adds this whole other layer to the poem.
It's like if I wrote a song and dedicated it to, like, I don't know, Questlove or something.
Exactly. You know he's got good taste, so it means something.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
Okay, so we've got the setting, the skilled musician, the discerning listener. You'd think it'd be all about, like, a flawless performance.
Right.
But then Li Duan throws in this curveball, a deliberately misplayed string. What's that all about?
See, that's the genius of the poem. Because in art, sometimes perfection isn't always the goal, you know?
Interesting.
I mean, think about it. A flawless performance, yeah, it can be impressive.
Sure.
But a performance where there's a little stumble, a break from the expected, it
Yeah.
makes you really pay attention. It creates this sense of intrigue.
Like they're human.
Exactly.
It's like those perfectly curated social media profiles versus someone who's, like, real and a little messy.
100%.
Yeah, that little bit of mess can be way more compelling. Okay, but back to Zhu Lang.
Yeah.
Do you think he was fooled by the misplayed string? Or was he like, come on, man, I know what you're doing?
Well, we don't know, and that's part of the beauty of it. Li Duan, he leaves it open to interpretation.
Okay.
Was it intentional? Was it an accident? And if it was intentional, what was the purpose? Was it, like you said, a way to get Zhu Lang's attention? Or maybe, and this is what I think, maybe it was a way of expressing something deeper, something that words couldn't quite say.
Okay, now we're getting to the heart of it.
Right. Because this misplayed string, it becomes this metaphor for all the ways that we try to connect with someone, especially someone we're, interested in.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do it in these subtle, almost subconscious ways, right? Like,
Yeah.
have you ever, like, tripped over your words or pretended to be really interested in something just because you were talking to someone you liked?
All the time. I think everyone does that.
It's that whole playing hard to get thing, but in this beautiful, poetic way.
Li Duan was dropping some serious truth bombs back in the Tang Dynasty.
He really was. And I think that's why this poem still resonates with us today.
It's timeless.
It is. It captures something universal about the human experience,
Yeah.
this desire to be seen, to connect,
Yeah.
the way we use art and music to communicate our emotions.
It's amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
It makes you think, like, that time you hear someone hit a wrong note, maybe don't be so quick to judge.
Right.
Maybe they're just trying to get your attention.
Maybe they are.
Deep stuff for a short poem.
Here you go. That's Li Duan for you.
That's a wrap on another deep dive. Thanks for listening, everyone.